Good morning. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I have with me today Mandy Haynes. Mandy, hi.
Kathy. I'm already messing up. We hadn't even started.
Oh no, there's no messing up. We're just being authentic and real. Well, this is very organic, whatever we do. But I want to tell the audience first about Mandy. Mandy came into my view when she joined the book club. I made her book club selections, and she came forward and said she wanted to volunteer to be a Tawana. Tawana Anderson Neal was my former executive director. And for 20 years, she helped me working behind the scenes. And Mandy volunteered to help with Girlfriend Weekend. And I'll have to tell you, I have never met Mandy in person. We talk every day, but she's like a little sister to me. And the skills that she has, and I'll list these here in just a minute, the skills that she has and she's a giver. And I've been telling everybody, if you want to make change in this world, look for the givers, look for the visionaries, and she is one. So she came forward and helped me with our annual book club convention called Girlfriend Weekend. And I asked her, as she helped me, she was invaluable. Um, I asked her if I could make her the executive director of the Pulpwood Queens, and she said yes. And it's the best decision I ever made in my life, because what she has taken us to with this new 21st year of running my book club has been phenomenal. What I want to tell you about first, though, is her accreditations. Mandy is an author, and she's written 2 books, and I've made both of them book club selections: Walking the Wrong Way Home and Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth. If you have not read these books, you are doing yourself a great disservice. You can order these from our website, thepulpwoodqueens.com. Now, she's an author, but she's also an artist. So we've been doing some collaborations together, and I just announced this morning on June 27th, we'll be having a big show in Tyler, Texas at La Moreau Gallery. But the wonderful thing about Mandy, she lives in Fernandina Beach, Florida, which is on it's Amelia Island, and she is a journalist and photographer for the Amelia Islander magazine. And she also is on display and was just currently in a gallery show it's called the Shady Ladies Gallery and Art Studio. And I found it really interesting. She sold a couple of her pieces. And for all of us that are artists out there, that's an amazing thing, to sell. Even one we're thrilled about, but she sold 2. So I am thrilled. And I can't wait till we get together, because we are working on lots of different things. But the most exciting news, before Mandy gets talking about our workshop today, is Mandy and I collaborated on this idea that we have a newsletter that Paul Roberson is running, my webmaster, but we decided that we wanted to start a magazine because we wanted to help. We're trying to help as many first book authors and authors that are not discovered in a big way to get the word out, especially during this time of COVID and everything that's going on with social distancing. And the magazine has been such a tremendous success. We have 2 issues out, and we're soon to have the June issue, which I've already seen the cover. It's fantabulous. But anyway, this is the incomparable Mandy Haynes. Mandy, what are we going to be talking about today with all the authors?
Oh, thank you, Kathy. You're so sweet. So today, I'm a self-published author, and a lot of people which makes me very happy when they get my books, are surprised that they're self-published. And so that just starts a whole conversation about what we had in our minds about self-publishing and how things have changed. So that's what I would like to talk about today. I've had a lot of people ask questions, and I thought, well, this would be a good way to get them out there. So I'll tell you real quick, if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would self-publish, I would have said no. Well, 10, 12 years ago, I said no, I would never self-publish. I wanted I wanted to be picked up by one of the big, top 3 publishers. That's a dream. And at the time, it was longer. Gosh, time's so weird. It was actually 15 years ago, I guess, when self-publishing had just started to change. But before that, self-published books, you knew they were self-published when you had one. The covers, the typeset, the people weren't paying for professional editors. It's like, it just had a whole different feel to it. But then all these small independent presses had popped up, and I had a couple of independent publishers ask if they could publish my stories. I mean, they actually came to me and asked if I'd be interested. And I was excited at that point, because I thought, well, it's not self-publishing, it's a publisher. So I almost did it. The first one was had a couple of books that were good. I mean, it's like they already had a library, a little catalog, and they were doing great work. But just the way things were happening in my life at that time, that just didn't work out for different reasons. The second was my editor was starting an independent publishing company, and she wanted me to be the debut author. It sounded too good to be true, because it was. And I almost, y'all, I mean, I was that close to signing that contract. And what stopped me was, while I was thinking about signing that, I was also still researching the big publishing houses and how they did stuff. And I, on my own, even though I was going with this publishing company, I was trying to follow those guidelines, and I'd sent some of my work out for endorsements, and to established authors where I looked up to. And I thought probably nobody would answer because I was brand new, and but I thought, I'm doing it. You just do it. Got to try it. And in doing that, I sent my stories to Sunny Brewer, who like 7 years before that, I'd gone to a writing conference that he and Rick Bragg did called Don't Quit Your Day Job, which was great. They had an anthology of all these authors that were, established authors now, and the jobs that they had before they got published. And it was really cool. Well, I knew he wouldn't know me. I mean, there were like, I don't know, 100, 200 people, 300 people in the audience, but I really, admired Sonny, and I'd read The Poet of Toadstool Park. I thought he was a great writer. He was a professional editor. So anyway, sent the stuff out to him. And I mean, this is like a month before I was supposed to sign. And he contacted me. He sent me an email with his phone number and said to give him a call. And I did. And he said, do not sign with that publisher. Your writing is good, and you could publish it now, and it could be, it would sell, you would do fine. But if you put some more work into it, it could be great and could be on the shelf next to Flannery O'Connor and Eudora Welty and all this stuff. Like, I just fell out, So, but I'd already, and the person that I was supposed to do this with was also a friend of mine and my editor. So that was hard. I had to really think about it. So Sonny got me, thinking about it, and in doing that, more research on independent presses, small house, like different things. And there were just too many red flags, just too many red flags. So I didn't know what I was doing, y'all. Okay, so remember, it was Don't Quit Your Day Job, the conference that I'd gone to. Well, Sonny said, you need to quit your job, then you need to write full time. That's how good you are. So I had quit my job and sold my house and given everything away. And I didn't have a publisher because I decided not to sign with them. And I did not know what I was going to do. So I just spent that time really focused on what I was doing. I was doing more research on university presses and other things, even, wrote my query letter. I was going to send my stuff to an agent, and I just had this, aha moment. I thought, why don't I just publish it myself? These small independent presses, they are a lot of them, well, they're not, there are red flags everywhere. And this is like, a publisher should not charge you to publish your book. They should not do it. So many of them are. Those are vanity presses, even though they're not calling themselves vanity presses. And what they're doing, there are all these companies out there that have packages for self-publishing authors that have that cover design, graphic artists do covers, and your editing and typesetting and all that for a fee that I could just pay them to do that instead of going through a publisher that's, putting, doubling those fees because they're making money, paying that company to do it. It's like all this stuff. So then you're just like, oh my gosh, it would get just oversaturated with stuff. And I thought, again, why would I do that? And I can just do it myself. And so I really focused on how to do it right. I hired an artist to do my artwork, to do the cover. I had already paid a professional editor to edit my stuff. Sonny said, you need a line editor, got all this great advice. He introduced me to Suzanne Hudson and Joe Formicella, and they were like, oh yeah, line editors, that's so important, which I did not have a line editor. I had other pub editing, done, but not line editing. But when so in the meantime, I moved to Florida, bought a house that I was remodeling, and still then now with all this stuff, I'm thinking if I, instead of doing a small thing or self-publishing, I might still try to do the traditional route, but I was going to turn 50 in a year. And even if I was lucky enough to be picked up by, a major publisher, which, if I was lucky enough to do that, which that, it would have been I would have turned 50 before I had the book in my hand. And that was the thing that I said to myself when I quit my job. I was going to have a book in my hand by the time I turned 50. So I sent out my work to a couple of line editors here in Florida that I met, that I was contacted through the Florida Writing Association. And 2 line editors with great resumes. Both of them sent it back to me and said that there was nothing they could do, that they thought that it was ready to publish, which was so nice because they could have taken my money. They could have taken my money. I just think I've been really, really lucky that I've met some great people. But I still wasn't ready to publish it because everybody said you need another edit, you need more edits, and all the research, it's like you really want to make sure you have the best thing you can do, your best product ready before you publish. So one of the best things I've ever done is I paid for a professional critique. Suzanne Hudson, who she's written one of the best novels I've ever read in my life, In the Dark of the Moon. I was blown away. I asked her if she would do a critique of my stories. And that was the most helpful thing ever. That was that was more beneficial than anything that I'd done, because she read the stories. Hey, Robert, because she read the stories as a reader with the eye of an author and the mind of an editor, and so she really pointed out all the things in the stories that I had missed because I knew what I wanted to write. You know what you're writing. You see that, and after so many edits and rewrites, I just you get blind to them. And so she picked up all these little things like sticky sentences, things that weren't completely followed out. Like, I don't know. That was so after I got that back from her. Actually, after I got that back from her, I thought, I'm ready. That's when I found the graphic designer to do the cover. And it costs a lot of money, but it's like, you know, you think, I was paying someone to do that for me, instead of, I had control over it, which goes back to the thing, both the covers of both of my books, I used the same artist who I love her resume, like she did covers for Sue Monk Kid, and her portfolio is great. But in the end, I chose both the covers I chose were the mock-ups that I sent her, that I made to give her and to show her what I wanted. And that's another, when you self-publish, you have that control. If you know, I don't know if I'm just too much of a control freak. I mean, these were my babies. I wanted to do it all myself. Like, it's the thought of handing it over and signing over your copyright to somebody else was another big, you know, after doing all the research and finding out all these different little things that weren't 100% legit, it was scary. I'm just rambling, Kathy. I don't even know what I'm saying.
You're making total sense, because we all are, everything's changed. It's the wild, wild west right now on publishing. So you explaining your process is going to help people understand more the self and just keep going. Just keep
okay, because I had made slides, like I was going to have a little slideshow, and then I thought, no, I'll talk. But then it's like I get to talking and I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying.
I'll keep track.
Thank you, Kathy. So when so I just think, so it's with the artwork. Like I mean, I have no regrets. I paid her for her service. She put it together beautifully, the spine, the back. I love it. But I think it's kind of funny too. Even then, the covers that she sent me, they were beautiful, but they were like very commercial, like what's popular. And I tell you, the second book, Serpent's Tooth, we actually kind of like butted heads. I even paid an extra $200 for that one because I got a blurb after the ad on there, and I thought, wow, but it was worth it to me. It was worth it because it worked out perfect. But what's funny is 2 months after my book came out, three books came out with covers almost identical to one of the ones that she had sent me, that we really kind of, she tried to tell me. On the one hand, it's like a lot of people would be like, oh, they'd like that because, that was the thing and that's what everybody, but I don't want that. I mean, I don't want to be commercially. That's a hard thing too, that you really have to ask yourself too, if you're going to go the self-publishing route, is what are your goals for your book? Like for me, my main thing, I wanted people to read my stories. That was it. Not money, not recognition. Like if it would have been published by one of the big publishing houses, I mean, gosh, that would have been such a great little badge of honor and to say, and it's like that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't love it sometime in the future, but that wasn't that important to me. And the money, when people are like, self-published authors, if you sell 250 books, that, the first year you're really lucky. And it's like, I thought if I sold 50 books, I would be happy. If 50 people were reading my stories, I would have been happy. I would have been happy with that. But, and it's so funny because I don't know what all the numbers are. Like, I know that they say 250 to 500 books for a first-time author. That's usually what you sell. With the first book, I had 300 pre-orders on the first book. And I didn't even have a website. So it's funny, I can tell you all the things like with people, it's like, I thought I'd love to tell people what I did because I have a lot of things that I should have done better. Like I can tell you what I didn't do, what I should have done better, actually. I've got a lot of that, but just, when you think, I 300 pre-orders on my first book, first time author. Now, somebody said the first night I had 87 things. I was working at a bookstore here, and the owner, one of the owners said, well, you must have a lot of friends and family buying your book. And I thought, if you all know, as authors, your family is not the ones that are buying your books. They expect you to give them to everybody. That's like, you hear that from everybody. It's like they're, they don't think they should buy your book, with their family. They should get one. And friends, I thought, that's so funny. The first couple of, the first day, 87, I was like, wow, do I know all these people? But by the time it was 300 pre-orders, I realized that I don't know, all that hard work to get my stories in the best shape they could be paid off, I did a little thing where because I thought I might get 50 pre-orders. I thought that would be like the big number. And I was like 50. So I used to do all kinds of artwork, and I thought I've never done watercolor. And I thought, I'll offer little watercolor paintings, like little 6x6 little watercolor paintings. Well, by the time it was over and I had 300 little watercolors to paint. And with that.
Wow. I have one.
So that was fun. But that probably helps. It was a personal thing. I think that's a good thing for and not even self-published. All this stuff is like, it doesn't even have to be a self-published author. It's like any author, no matter what route you're going. Instead of like spending a lot of money on swag that is just stuff, if you could do something that's a little more personal. I offered a short story from the collection too for the pre-orders, and that was great because you're giving them a little taste of what they're going to get. And I didn't think about this doing it, but then people were I was supposed to cry because I had so many people then sending emails and messages and stuff about how much they love that story. So, that was something that worked out way more, that was way better than I even planned. I just thought, it'd be nice to offer them a story so they could kind of say. So that's something I would advise everybody to do. Give them a sample of what you've got. I don't know, it's nice to have something a little personal. For the second one, I did felted bookmarks because I just started wet felting. I'd wanted to do it. So that was fun, making all those bookmarks for this. I got 200 pre-orders on the second book. But I don't know. It's like, if you decide to do the self-publishing route, then you need to do it yourself. But you need to do it like you need to think of yourself as a publishing house. Then you're the author, but then when it comes time to publish your book, you need to think of yourself as the publisher. You need to have a professionally edited. That's key. And like I said, the critiques, that was the best thing. Yes, you need to have a professionally edited, then a professional critique. That was the best thing I've ever done. Suzanne did the second one, and one of my favorite stories in Sharps and Serpent's Tooth, Eva and Other Stories, is Eva. And I had actually published the first small press I was going to go with years and years ago, published 40 little chapbooks of Eva. Gosh, this is probably 10 years ago. We had a thing at Southern Festival of Books. I was with the National Writers Group, and she was one of the members of that. She published 40 chapbooks of Eva. They sold out. They were gone within 5 minutes. And I saw people, I would get emails from people wanting to know when that story was going to come out in a book. Years later, people that I didn't know. Well, when I sent the collection to Suzanne for a critique, she hated Eva. She hated it. She didn't like it. And you've got to be open to, it's a critique, and any advice you get from anybody, you got to be open. And so I was open. I wanted to know what she didn't like about it. She just she thought it would make her advice was I could turn it into a dark humor. And I told her I would rather poke my eyeballs out with a COVID-infected fork than turn Eva into a humor piece, because it wasn't. And she laughed and she said, I respect your, it's your story. This is just my opinion. So I called a friend of mine. A friend of mine called right after that. And I told her about it because I was just blown away. And I was like, wow, maybe I was silly to put out a second collection so soon, And my friend said to me, this is crazy. And what do you always say, Mandy? No two people read the same story. And she was like, she just wasn't in that zone. And I thought, I really do respect Suzanne. I just think she's an awesome writer. And as a person, I just love it. And I love how honest, you need that too, that hard stuff. And my friend was like, just take that with a grain of salt and move forward. Just throw it over to the side as bad advice. And it was the best advice I ever got, because what that did to me, Suzanne saying that to me, it made me sit down with Eva again with a new pair of eyes that I didn't poke out with a fork, with a new pair of eyes, and read it again and try to put myself in Suzanne's shoes and see why other people liked it and what was it about the story that she didn't get. And honestly, I thought I can do more with the dialogue. I could explain a couple of things a little more. This is one of my stories I thought was 100% done. And getting that critique back from her, if it could have just, you have to, be open and be, willing to hear it all. Because if I wouldn't have been, if I could have that could have just made me mad. And I could have just said, forget it. I know what I'm doing. And this is a good story. Or killed me. And I thought, well, it's not good. So she didn't like it. And I could have just put it over in the slush pile. But that was the best advice ever, because I love Eva even more. And I haven't gotten one person saying that it was too far-fetched or it should be humor after I did those rewrites. I even sent it to Suzanne after, and she said, dang. And this is exactly what she said. She said, how was it? I love her so much. Was it like, dang. I don't know. She did like the rewrites better. She did. So I still don't know if she liked Eva. I'm not sure if she liked it. But, that's part of it. You have to stand behind your thing. And if you're self-published, you can do that. That's another thing too. If you have signed with someone else and the editors, you have to take their advice pretty much. You don't really have as much say so. Because so back to Sonny Brewer, that's when after he wrote Potatoe Park, The Widow in the Tree, and he did A Sound Like Thunder, and they're all wonderful, but something happened with him with every time the book was released. Like one, I think maybe his agent was pregnant and maybe had her baby earlier. There was something, so that threw it off. And, just that's so scary. That's another thing that makes me afraid, to sign your stuff over to someone else. Because I had control. And A Sound Like Thunder, the editor, I can't remember who his publisher was at the time, but the editor talked him into changing the ending. He didn't want to, but at the end he did. He took her advice and he changed it. And he says he still regrets it to this day.
Yes.
Still regrets it to this day. So there's pros and cons. And one of the things too that used to be a big thing with big publishers is that, now it's scary because people are like, oh, you have to do all the marketing yourself. And with a publisher, they have all these things. It's down to the authors now, even then. They have, they do have connections and different outlets, but you can get those too if you work hard enough. If you work hard enough and you're willing to put in that work, you can make those connections.
Absolutely.
You can make them. And as far as all the outlets, Ingram Spark is my distributor. I use them. It's in the Ingram Spark catalog. You can get my book. I mean, it's available, and
let's
books
talk
and
about, Mandy, let's talk about the actual how you did that and why it's important if you self-publish that you go through someone like Ingram Spark. Tell how that process works.
Well, it's so funny. So that, to me, it's like it was a no-brainer. That was one of the first when I researched it. The Ingram Spark was the thing that popped up because it's Ingram catalog. I never really even looked at other things. Like, I just didn't. And I was naive, and I was like thinking, I'm not going through I don't even want Amazon to sell my book, which is like, I'm very fortunate that I've sold something through Amazon right now. It's like, okay, but I was like, I don't even want Amazon to have my book available. Well, when you go through Ingram, you're in the catalog and it is available. Like, they picked it up without, I didn't even have a say so in it. So I made an author page because I thought they're my book. I might as well, go with it, But you can still tell your customer, like customers to get it through bookshop.org, or, if they don't have a local store. But so Ingram, I mean, it's like, it just seemed like a no-brainer. A lot of people that in like National Writers Meetup group that had self-published, they went through Amazon because it's free. It's free to go through Amazon. It doesn't cost you a penny, which is another red flag when small publishers say they will publish you through Amazon. You can publish yourself through Amazon for free, costs nothing. But if you go through Amazon, you're not in that Ingram catalog. So booksellers, bookstores, libraries, they're not saying that they won't if you have a great book that's doing really well, but there's so many great books out there that are doing well.
And I want to jump in about that because I need to explain to authors that when you publish directly through Amazon, Amazon is this mega giant that's come in that's the biggest competitor of independent bookstores. And I am a big supporter of independent bookstores because I owned an independent bookstore and I've worked in independent bookstores. And the people that work in independent bookstores know the books, they're passionate about it, they are family-owned businesses that contribute to their own communities. And it's very important that as the Pulpwood Queen Book Club Reading Nation, that we support independence. Now, we know that the books get listed on Amazon too, and that's great for people who buy from that. But it's really important that we support independent bookstores because we do not want in the future our choices made by one buyer at one mega giant.
Right. And so it's like, when you go through Ingram, and that's your distributor, they're not your publisher, they're your distributor. Then you have the option, like I said, it's in the catalog. So that it's in the catalog. If someone calls a bookstore and asks for your book, they might not have it on the shelf, because there's only so much shelf space. But we'll get to that too, about how you can get your book in the bookstore. I've been really lucky too, and that's fun. Before the stupid pandemic, I was on a roll. But if you go in with a book that's published through Amazon, and it's Amazon, the bookstores, I mean, that's all. Just think that's kind of an insult to them. It's like, why would they carry your book?
Huge insult.
Yeah, I mean, because they'll do it like on consignment. Even though my bookstore Ingram, this bookstore here, Story and Song, we do it on consignment because it works out better as far as the money. The money goes. Like, they can order it through Ingram, but we had a setup where I take the books that I order, and then you get a little more of the money back when they do it that way through consignment. So they set that up with me. But think if you took your books like that first on consignment and they were from Amazon, it's rude to do that to a bookstore. But so, where was I?
Well, we were talking about how important it is that if you self-publish, you can be like When I got my book, when my book went out of print with Grand Central Publishing and I got the rights back, I self-published it under Kathy L. Murphy Publishing. So it's my own publishing house, but you want to go through Ingram so you can have distribution so they can be bought in gift shops, museum shops, college bookstores, independent bookstores. If you go through strictly through Amazon, that's the only way people can get the books. So if they go into their local bookstore and say,
Oh, that's what, and another
if
thing
I
with
want to
Amazon,
get, if I want to, I had during Girlfriend Weekend, we have authors that the bookstore owner that was providing our books, the independent bookstore, said, I can't get their books because they're only published on Amazon.
mhm.
So we can't sell them. I'm not going to order the books from a publisher, and I'll have to, not only will I not make any profit, I'll have to pay shipping. So think about that, authors. Do you really want your local independent bookstores not to be able to get your books, or anybody order them from bookshop.org, which is the national independent bookstore ordering? All that, when you order from bookshop.org, percentage of that goes back to booksellers all over the country. And that's our answer to a level playing field with this mega giant. And
Yeah, and another thing too, ebooks. So I had ebooks of both versions of both of my books that I did through Ingram. A lot of people, again, they're like, oh, but it's free through Amazon. It's then your ebook's only available on, what is their platform, Kindle? Is that Kindle? So you can only get it through there. So it's like, yeah, well, it was, and I think it's $49 to upload your book on Ingram. I think it is $49. And if you're ready to do an ebook, and that if you have your ebook version ready, I think it's $49 for both. To do an ebook, there's another little, but I mean, y'all, it's not that much. It's worth it. It's like for people to say, but the other's free. Well, you kind of get what you pay for. And another reason why Amazon, and this is something, I was at a book event back in Tennessee, and it was a huge room full of people, and it was a bunch of cute some older people, and one of them said, but you can get it on Amazon. Like, that was a really great, oh, like, gosh, Mandy, I saw your book on Amazon. Like, it was a big, huge thing to be proud of. And I said, what? Yeah. And so I was telling them about the other places you can get it. And they said, but it's so good for authors because you sell so many copies of there. Well, in a way, this is another thing. When I would buy copies of my books, and for book, I have sound copies, like you can get them from my website. I have to charge shipping and handling, because the printer for the labels and all this stuff. It's like, well, Amazon, they don't. And they also mark the book down. Like, if your book is selling, because I was like, how did I have my book for $13? I was like, what? The book's $15. Like, how, so it sells at the bookstores. I was like, how do you sell it for $13? And did some research on that. If your book sells like a certain number, they mark them down to get more traffic to buy it from them. They're undercutting you as an author too, not just the bookstores. Because you can't blame. It's like, I don't blame anybody. If you've got, $15 to spend on a book, I'm just so excited, happy that you're going to spend that money on a book. And if you can get it for $15, and that's shipping and handling, and everything, and it would be $19 from me. Well, I can't. I'm just happy that they're buying the book. But it makes me mad that Amazon marks it too.
I just wanted to interject something here, because if all the authors who are the talent for books, if they said, no, don't give our stuff away. I spent 6 years, 8 years writing this book, and you're giving away free copies of my ebook, and I spent 6 years on this book, aren't I worth something more? So every time you buy a book, you think about how many years it took that author to buy the book, and you're getting an autographed copy when you buy it from the author or from oftentimes an independent bookstore. To me, that has worth. And I will make an extra trip to an independent to buy something to support them because they are the biggest supporters of authors' works, where the big mega giants are about numbers. And you remember who's contributing to the little league uh, baseball team in your hometown, or
Yeah.
who is supporting authors with book signings. It's the little independent bookstores, and not even, some of them aren't that little. The Strand in New York is a mega giant bookstore, but support the independents. And I think it's educating people on do you really want one buyer in the country to pick all the books that you're going to read? My thought is on it, if you do that, how many books are they going to turn away? Because most of the books that are published today by the mega giants and the big publishers are the ones that have celebrity fan bases, whether they're a television star, a film star, a sports star, or a political figure. They want to go with a given, they want 100,000 in book sales. They're not going to be helping the first author book. And that's what the Pulpwood Queens book club does. We try to help we don't care who your book is published by. We just want a well-written book from a perspective we haven't heard before. And we want to help them get out there in a big way. So that's why I picked Mandy's books, because to me, when I read these books, I said, this is the next, Mandy Haynes is going to be this generation's Eudora Welty. I really believe that. And if you haven't read these books, you're going to be blown away. So Mandy is so talented, and her stories are so authentic and very organic, and you forget you're reading the books. So I know it sounds like I'm just, going way overboard. I don't think I can go talk about these enough. And I can't wait to see the next one. In fact, that's why I brought Mandy on board, because not only is she a great artist and a great author, but this is the kind of books I like to pick. So if you look at these, this is the samples of books I like to pick, because I've never heard anything quite like this before. And also I want to say that's why my next book, Mandy Haynes, is going to be working with me, because we're already starting to work on my cover, and I'm really excited about it. And she's also working on helping River Jordan with her book that's coming up, for all of you that are familiar with River. And I want you to talk about, Mandy, a little bit about things that you can do to help authors. I mean, here you started the Reading Nation magazine, and we've got to tell everybody about this, because we started this and we didn't know what we were doing. Okay. But Mandy is a research queen. I mean, she got on there and she started learning all this thing, and she spent quite a bit of money out of her own pocket buying certain software to start this magazine. But the response we got from the very first issue, in the first hour, you sold every one of the book covers for a year for our magazine, right?
In 2 hours.
In 2 hours.
All the covers were gone.
The inside covers and the back covers. And so we realized that the price might have been pretty low. And listen, for me, I advertise myself, and I'm going to tell you, $10 a page to be featured in our magazine is a steal. You spend that to mail your book to somebody. $10 is nothing. So you do have some pages left for this year in some of the issues.
Lots of pages left, because that's another sort of like self-publishing this book. I don't really like rules. I don't like, which sometimes you have to have them. Like some things I do need to be a little more organized about, like the call for submissions for the anthology that we're going to do.
Yes,
I gotta have a little, because I know people need a little more guideline, a little more. I do like to go a little willy-nilly, so it's kind of fun doing this magazine. I don't have a set number of pages for each month. Like I don't, where I'm doing it myself, I can sort of do it. And I'm adding all this fun stuff. So because I think for the magazine, we went back and forth when I first did it, and it's like, oh, well, printed ones, and people would buy them, and that's like to make a little money to pay for your time. And then it was, oh, online, but have a paid for submission. But I wanted it free, so every book lover, whether they're a Pulpwood queen or not, can look at it, because there's so many good authors in there. I mean, it's just like it's a book lover's little treasure chest, because you see the covers about the authors, little blurbs about the books.
I lost you. There we go. Okay. Lost you on audio there for just a second.
Oh.
Tell them about, besides featuring, you have to be a book club member to author to get featured in the magazine, but talk about some of the extra stuff that you're doing, and even what you're going to be doing in future editions, because there's nothing like this out there. Almost all the literary magazines, there's some really great ones like Lone Star Literary, but that's just Texas, and there's Blue Mountain that you're involved with, Robert, which is fantastic. In fact, Mandy and I are sending off a submission for their art. So, because I haven't done that before. So we're doing one of our collaborations, but there's a lot of literary magazines out there online and things, but not so much that focus just on reading. So tell about some of the other things you're doing in the magazine.
So, so it was so much fun putting the pages together for the authors. Like Kathy said, the only thing to be featured in there, you have, as far as like for authors, you have to be a Pulpwood queen or Timber author. It's one of the benefits of being in the thing, because I was thinking, different fun ways for this community that Kathy started, and I don't know, and to show people who we are and how cool this whole thing is. But then I started, it was so funny, like how Kathy's an artist and all the stuff that she does. And then I'm an artist too. And then I thought, what about all these other authors that do art too? That would be a kind of a fun little neat thing for people to see, a little sideline. And then I just saw too, Carolyn Haynes, who is she is a great writer, and how many books she has out. She's
30-something.
Gosh, she's great. Well, she also, I see her post on Facebook where she's working on the farm. There's a storm coming through and she had to fix a fence, and she's got all these dogs and cats and horses and all kinds of stuff. And I thought, ooh, what about where I'm from? I'd love to know, because I love to know. And a lot of it's just me being curious. And I thought, where I'm from. So we could have that. And those are little free things. Another way to promote yourself and get, show the readers who you are, and to show the other authors that you're in this group with that don't really know each other. It's like having, knowing more about just your people that you think, oh, this is my friend, but then you're like, oh, she lives on a farm? I didn't even know it. Or I don't know, the cute little towns. And I thought it could be a picture of your front porch, your town square, whatever. So it's like a little thing about where you're from. And then I thought, ooh, what about all the authors, their local bookstores? That'd be a good way to promote their bookstores. And then I thought, ooh, and the libraries. So we have all this other stuff. And it's when people are like, when do you need this by? Y'all, like I said, I don't like rules and stuff. I'm just gathering fun stuff. I'm putting it separated in where I'm from piles, authors and their art piles, little folders. And then when I'm doing a magazine and some of the books, one of the stories in the folder might kind of fit or work with that, I'm just going to pull it out and use it. So send it on to me. I don't like structure. I'm kind of a little bit loosey-goosey, and it's I just want this magazine to be like that. I don't want it to be too. I just want it to be fun.
Let me explain to everybody too, Mandy, that this magazine is yours. You are the publisher, you're the editor-in-chief, and the reason why I tried to convince her to be higher on everything that she's charging, because she came to me as a volunteer as the executive director. After 21 years, it's time that the people that work 24/7 on my program get an income. So this is something that I endorse fully as a total Mandy project on So all the money is going to her, and it's because she deserves it. I mean, this, you have no idea. You took 1,000 emails when you were getting ready to do the second issue. Is that correct?
We had 400 emails like that. First night, I was like, whoo! And then by the second day, I was like, oh, and a lot of them, which were questions that were like normal other Pulpwood Queen questions, because I also have the other.
Explain that too, how you have 3 emails. Be sure you send the message to the right email.
If it's for the magazine, it's readingnationmagazine@gmail.com. If it's anything about the magazine, goes there. If you have questions about, if you'd like to send a copy for us to read, you know, like, because I get a lot of things. Or can you check and see if my membership, it's funny because Kathy, you know, when she asked if I'd be the executive director, I'm like, oh, and she was like, you know, Mandy, it's just volunteer. And I was like, whatever. I said, well, I get to read books, you know, to help you pick the selections. And I thought, well, book, that's good. You know, that'll be good payment. But it's a lot of
Nobody
work.
has any idea how many. She goes, my God, I'm on the computer. I said, yeah, a lot of people don't understand that. And they actually think you're sitting there waiting for your email.
Because I do, and it's like, and I don't want to, like, you know, I want to help everybody, and it's like, and like, you know, I get a lot of emails that are like, where can I find information about the membership? Well, it's on the website. Where can I find, just all of it. Like, so I see y'all have an online book, you know, thing. Everything's on the website. A lot of emails for that kind of stuff.
And it's really important to tell everybody, we get tons of emails like, when did I sign up? Well, we have thousands of book club members. And when you sign up to become a Pulpwood Queen, you are sent a receipt. You can print it out. You can put it, it's there. It's automatic renewal, annual every year. And they go, oh, I didn't know it was automatic renewal. You need to read the copy. And if you don't want it automatic renewal, if you just want to sign up for 1 year, you have to contact PayPal to opt out of automatic renewal. You don't contact me or Mandy because you paid with a credit card through this system. Only you can go back and do that, but you can't do it after it's renewed. And this is something I explain to people every single day, that it's an automatic renewal. If you signed up to be a book club member and you're an author member, you signed up for the wrong one. Because if you don't sign up for author member, you're not going to get featured in the newsletter. You're not going to be able to be featured in the magazine. So you need to check. And they send you, you know, we have the membership. When you click on it, it'll say book club member. It'll say author member. And they say, oh, I get emails all the time. I paid for the wrong one. And I go, and only they can change it after they do it, because they gave the PayPal will not let me change anybody's because they paid with their credit card. It's a service that I use. First of all, we have a database, and second of all, that's great for my accountant. And second of all, I have a place to check for every one of you, and I can go back and look on my PayPal. It takes some time because we have so many members to go back and look and see when you paid. But everybody needs to get ready, because we just checked it, and many of you are years in arrears on membership. So you're going to be getting emails from me this summer saying you're not a member anymore. So if you're attending a book club meeting, I'm going to be contacting those leaders saying you need to pay before the next meeting. So if you're hearing this, it's, you know, our book club is only as good as your participation. And if you want it to be everything, you need to do like Robert Waltney and Mandy do. They join every online event. That's the privilege of being a member. You get the private Zoom meetings so you can be on the live discussions with the authors. There's no other book club in the world that gives you the connections that we do to the authors. That's a privilege, and the privilege is in the price of the membership. So
we really would like to see more readers. It's like, because, as authors, we love our readers. And that's another thing with the magazine, is that I'm using a part of that. We're going to feature our readers, give them a little place to shine and tell us about them.
There's one that you're going to feature.
Betty Koval.
Betty Koval is going to be featured in the next up and coming issue. And all of you can get featured too. You just have to participate. And we have to know what you're doing. We want to know what you're doing. And very few of you send us photos. We need photos. In fact, you're going to be asking for photos for an up and coming edition, Mandy, right?
I am. And, we understand it has been hard. It's been a crazy with the pandemic. It's been hard because you haven't been able to meet and stuff. And so we understand that. And that's what we want to, and I know people are tired of Zoom, but she said to join all the online stuff. As much as I love all that stuff, sometimes I'm up at 3:00 in the morning. I'm falling asleep at 8:00. So I missed some of those online. But the good thing about that, they're recorded and you can always go back and watch them. So
if you want to participate live, and if your book clubs are not meeting, then you need to join us, because all the authors are there and they're on Breathless Bubbles every day posting for you. And in fact, Robert Waltney and I are doing our book and film club tonight. And my gosh, we have so much fun with everybody that joins us. And now I'm doing all these crazy dress ups and trying to get Robert involved with it. It's so much fun. So, me, I sit in the woods. It's beautiful out, but I'm still in social isolation. So it's my entertainment, and it is highly, highly entertaining. So, and also, Mandy, I want you to tell people that if in the self-publishing process, there is, if you don't even want to research it yourself, that you offer that service, and it's reasonable. I mean, you can help people navigate the process of getting somebody to do a cover. You can talk to them about getting their book formatted for publishing, edited, critiques.
Well, they're all, you can go online. There's a lot of different companies that offer this, that offer it. But in all the stuff that I learned doing the stuff, well, I did my typesetting, the interior formatting myself, because I did not have the money, because I bought this house and did all this, which you could see this door over here. It's like, there are a few things I still need to, I kind of like that brick exposed though. So
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Dad would be like, I can't believe you haven't finished it. Well, I don't know, that might be finished. I don't know.
But that's what the Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys are about. We're mentoring to each other. And yes, it's going to take Mandy some time to walk you through this stuff. That is worth something. But I'm going to tell you, in the long run, you keep all the profits from your books. Explain that.
It is. I mean, okay, so for River, for her book. So what started this collection is her mother was sick. And she really wanted to get the collection out while her mother was still here. And it would be too long if she went the traditional publishing route. That was really the first thing. And two, she said she was excited to see how I had done, with my two. And, so she just had a bunch of questions, and we talk all the time. We laugh and talk about it. And then she said, I really want to do it. Will you help me? And she's like, I'll pay you. Because I was telling her, you can use this person. This is how much it costs. How much they charge. You could use this, and this is how much it's going to cost you if you want to buy the software to do the interior formatting, because you do have to buy, Word to PDF to do it. It's like, oh, it'll kill you. It will, because I did not buy the software with my first one. And the first 300 books that came out had, even though I'd gone over it 20 times and everything was perfect, my proof was perfect. And that last whatever on the order, when my 300 books, they had horrible typos. But I'm going to tell y'all this. I didn't have time to order more. I had a book event at Page and Palette, I think it's what it was. And Sonny said, Mandy, you don't have time, just don't worry about it. Just do it like it is. I was so embarrassed, y'all. I cringed. Only one person reached out to me that I knew and just said, your publisher, they didn't know I had self-published because I made Three Dogs Right Press publishing. Your publisher, they need to take a closer look. You got some like paragraphs and blah, 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 that typesets, a little wonky in some places. So I fixed it. Bought the software I needed to do it and and did a second edition. But in the meantime, I'm just like, well, you got to mark this up to live and learn. And I was expecting to get more, negative stuff back. I just kept getting great reviews. There was a review from a librarian, and y'all, this is just like for a librarian. I don't even know who this person is. Said, do yourself a favor, like whatever, like buy this book, read the stories, the character, just went on about my writing. It was so good. And then he said, as a librarian, there were a few things with the interior format that were a little hard to read through. Yes, they did catch my eye, but do not let that deter you from reading these books. It's worth it. Hopefully our publisher will get it taken care of. I found him. I sent him an email message from the review and just thanked him for that thing and told him that, yes, there was a second edition out and I offered to send him a copy of the second print without those typos because it was so sweet to do it. So even then, y'all, it's like you just live and learn. You gotta, I don't know, so many people are just like so set on, whether it's black or white, it's one way. You kind of gotta, I don't know, you gotta not take yourself so seriously and just, I don't know. I just was so happy people were reading my book. That was the main thing for me.
A lot of things have changed too in the publishing, because I used to be a book publisher's rep, and my first book that I, got into a bidding war and ended up purchased by Time Warner, which ended up getting bought out by Hachette and ended up with Grand Central Publishing on it. That's back when they gave advances and book tours and everything. Those days are over, people. The publishers aren't giving book tours unless you're somebody like, I'm just trying to think, somebody big. Jay Shetty, good example. The Think Like the Monk is the book that I picked as an International Book Club selection. It went #1 around the world on the bestsellers list. And, of course, he got a huge book tour. He's doing London and, Mumbai, India. He's doing Los Angeles and, New York and Chicago. You've got to be at a status where you sell like hundreds of thousands of copies to get those kind of things today. First book authors don't get book tours. They don't get advances. And, I remember when my friend, even back in the day when they were doing that, she was a first-time children's book author and I was her book rep. And I said, are you going on tour? And she goes, no, the publisher's not paying for it. And I said, would you like to do a tour? Because I know all the bookstores in this area. So between her and me, we put together a tour. And we did it out of our own pockets. And I've never been more proud of it because she went on to win the National Book Award and she's won all these awards for her books. It's Kimberly Willis Holt. She's had her books made into films and she was the very first author that I had in my hair salon bookstore. But we did it out of our own pockets. And most people that are going on tour, but right now, it's not happening because of COVID. So what I do for my Pulpwood Queen authors is before COVID, I would set up where they go around to Pulpwood Queen book clubs like Brenda McLean. Now we do it by, doing our online book club meetings or scheduling events like, say, with my Pulpwood Queens in Beaufort that meet at the Pat Conroy Center. We're trying to make these connections for the authors in a way that is inexpensive, and but we can get their books out. So nothing thrills Mandy and I more when somebody gets, like Leslie Lear, who did It's a Boob's Life, sold not only her book to film with HBO, starring Salma Hayek, but she was brought on board as an executive producer. So, half the books would sell the film rights. And, it's only because we've had 20 years of pushing these authors. People know who the Pulpwood Queens are, and that stamp is starting to have really great meaning, especially during this time of COVID. But people like Mandy, that is championing our, moving forward, and Robert Waltney, who was just here, he had to leave for another editorial meeting. But these people that we're partnering with, we all share the same vision. So Mandy can help you negotiate through, if you decide you want to do this, you decide you want to have control of your own cover and get your book out there and keep all the profits, but you're also going to have to learn how to market it. So this year at Girlfriend Weekend, I'm going to do a panel basically on the things I've learned on how to market your book, because I love to promote authors, and I do it every day in every way, whether I'm here in front of the computer or I'm out. I mean, if somebody asks me something, I'm pitching a book. I mean, it's just what I do. So it's important that there's a lot of things you can do that cost nothing.
And one of the things, like for the Girlfriends Weekend, for book plates for Main Street Reads, I did a little with a snake, because sharp as a serpent too. So I did a snake, and a couple others like, oh, I love that. And how do I do a book plate? And then, so I just offered to do, I made one for Joy Ross Davis for Mad Woman of Preacher's Cove. Dang, Preacher's Cove. My tongue wouldn't work. So I made one to go with hers. And then Boo Walker, that I've not met yet, he was out of the country. Where was he? Was he out of the country?
He's in Spain.
In Spain. And so he was wanting to get book plates, but he, by the time he ordered them and then came to him and then he signed them and then sent them, it would have been, couldn't have made it. Well, I just happened to see him say that. So I sent him a message on Facebook and I said, send me a picture of your signature. And I made him some personalized book plates. Like all this stuff we just did for fun, for free of charge, and did it. And then I just realized too, in putting this thing together with River asking about her book, I've made graphics. I actually made graphics for Ancient Way, the book that her last book that she had out, that she liked better than the ones that the publisher did, and she used mine. So it's like, just did this. And I thought, look, a lot of people can make them themselves. I mean, you can do it yourself for nothing, but there are a lot of people that don't know how to do that. So I'll also offer that for, really low prices, very affordable little packages like that. And you don't have to, if you have questions, you can reach out to me. You don't have to use me to do it. If I can answer any questions or whatever, I'll do that, of course. It won't hurt my feelings if you just.
I want people to know, though, that Mandy has given so much already. Her time is getting to be very valuable. So, if you're going to do something, please realize that it's going to cost. She's taking hours working on these things. There's got to be some kind of fee for doing that. And I encourage her to accept that. And I've done this for so many years for free. Now people can't understand why I don't do everything I do for free. But I have to tell you, I am homebound. I am not working other than on this and my art. And this is my livelihood. So, you know, free is never free. It's never free. There's going to be a cost somewhere down the line. So if you're going to pay, you know, pay the people who are helping you the most, you know. And I can't, that's why I said, Mandy, you keep all the money from the magazine because you're doing all the work. I mean, I'm collaborating with her on ideas and stuff, but the bottom line is she's the publisher and she's the editor in chief. And but if you have any questions about the magazine, you email readingnationmagazine@gmail.com. If you have any questions about membership, you need to contact me because I can look it up. But I would.
You get a lot of questions are like, I don't want to bother Kathy because I know she's busy. And it's things that I'm going to have to ask Kathy because I don't know the answers to. And it's like, oh,
I would rather have you ask me, and then I could say, next time you sign up for Pulpwood Queens and they send you a receipt, print it out and put it in a file and make note of the date. And that way you always know Beauty in the Book is the umbrella under which everything I do runs. People, I had an email the other day, somebody thought it was a spam. They thought somebody had hacked in and charged them for $30 for membership. And I go, no, 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 no. That's just renewal of your dues for your author membership or for your book club membership. And you know, Beauty in the Book was the name of my hair salon, and it's everything I'm under on PayPal, and everything that I do falls under that, whether it's, you know, so that is, now, if you have any questions about this particular program, you email Mandy at what?
Mandy, let's see. If you want to know, if you are interested in if you want the self-published stuff, it's threedogspress@gmail.com. But if you have questions about the Pulpwood Queens, Timber Guys, it's mandy.pulpwoodqueen@gmail.com.
And you know what? We should put these up. I'll put them up when I put the post up, the video recording up on the YouTube channel, Kathy L. Murphy. So if anybody missed this today, you know, we always put everything up on my Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel so that you can watch it at your own convenience. The only thing we ask that you do is subscribe. It's free. Click on the bell icon so you can get future notifications. And the reason why is that for all of you using all our resources, this is a way of thanking me. And you can also, to thank Mandy, you can review her book and send it to her. There's so many things you can do that cost you nothing. That is just good manners. And good manners is not asking Mandy for things that have nothing to do with the magazine on the magazine email. You know, and because she got 1,000 emails, but only 400 of them were related to the magazine. So
I was like, whew.
And I know it's hard to keep track of them. Write them down. That's what I have this little book for. I write everything down of what I, you know, because she's got 4 emails you're keeping up with.
Oh, I have my Mandy at mandyhaynes.com. That's my freelance one because I write for the Amelia Islander and I do some other freelance work. So that's my author. You know, it's the Mandy at Mandy Haynes, and then I have Pup Lucy Blue. That's my art, and then I have the Pulpwood Queen, the magazine, and the Three Dogs Right Press. Which Three Dogs Right Press is actually my author one. I don't know if there's another one somewhere there that
you know what. Make a list of all those, Mandy. Send them to me, and I will put them in the recording on the YouTube channel. Subscribe. That is really important to me, you guys, that I get the numbers up on the subscriptions because we
really, yeah, because it's you know, when you look at that and you see all the people and you know that they're watching it because they're the views, but nobody is just hit that like, just give a thumbs up, let her know that you're there.
4,000 people watching the videos last month and only 138 subscribers. Like our pages, like, you know, all those things that it costs you nothing, but it's a wonderful thank you for all the hard work we're putting in for all of you. We love what we do. I mean, you know, I've done this for years for nothing, but I'm 64 and on Social Security. So this is my livelihood and I want to keep it going. And right now we're really, really, really up on membership, but we need more reader support. We need to hear from book club members. We need photos.
And we're working really hard too. We are changing some things to get it back to where the book club reader side is kind of back to the like a old-fashioned book club thing. I know I didn't say that right, but it's like we're trying to. So we're doing a lot of different things, like the different things to promote our authors. And even though they're separate in a way, they are separate in a way because there's some things for the authors and the readers. But we really want to make that reader side, build that up and have it where, you know, we're just put them on a pedestal. They deserve to be put on a pedestal.
Well, when you think about all the authors that you've met through the 20 years, now going in 21st years, that you've been, you know, Alice Hoffman, Pat Conroy, Fannie Flagg, all these things, the best thing you can do to thank us is to get your book club to come to the online book club meeting, or at least go on the Kathy L. Murphy channel. Now, I will tell you that we're going to have a summer promotion for book clubs to get you signed up for our Girlfriend Weekend. That's going to be a week long, and it's going to be bigger than we've ever had it before. It's going to be incredible, and you'll be hearing that announcement coming up sometime before the end of the month. And so it's really important that you all participate. You know, I have been in a zillion book clubs and different things my entire life, that the organization is only as good as participation. You know, I was in Rotary Club for years, and when I was in Jefferson, and that was the big thing. Participation is important. We want you all, we want to hear your stories as well as our author stories. So Mandy's going to be featuring those in the magazine. So send her to Reading Nation Magazine your book club meeting photos, what you're doing to promote literacy, maybe some, you know, feature on the bookstore that you have your meetings at, or what you're doing.
Tell us which authors that you would love to have a little thing with, and we'll do our best to connect, make those connections and get, you know, I don't know.
So many of the book club leaders contact the authors and they don't even tell me that they're going to be having an event until the day of, and they go, are you going to be there? And I go, I wish I'd known. You guys, communication is everything. So we're trying to communicate with you to make the experience better and easier and more fun. We're having a blast on all these online events that we're doing with the Book and Film Club, the Writers Club, the Breathless Bubbles and Books. You know, everything that we're doing is, you know, all centered around creating online content for all of you. So please take advantage of it, because
and tell us what y'all want. Let us know what you want us, what you'd like for us to do for you. Let us know. And if you send that to Mandy.Pulpwood, pulpwoodqueen@gmail.com. All the readers, I'd love to hear like what you'd like to see, and know how we can, what we can do for you to make you feel special, because you are special.
You are, and some of you have been with me almost since the very beginning, and I don't hear from you enough. I don't even know what you're doing, and it's impossible for me to reach out to everyone because there's so many. We have started over 800 chapters. We're now members around the world. I hear more from people out of the country sometimes than I do from right here in Texas. So let us know what you're doing, and just know that Mandy and I and Robert and Paul, our team, we're all working really hard for you. And if you have any questions about the self-publishing, email Mandy too. So she will help you with any of those questions too, or make comments on our Kathy L. Murphy channel. I respond to every comment I get. So thank you for joining
something like
Saturday. Yeah. Anything else, Mandy?
I was going to say, maybe we could do this again if people had a lot of questions that couldn't be here today. You know, if they have, I think, where we could just answer them all, because I know I rambled a lot, and I'm sorry about that. So,
Oh, you know, there's a lot of information you gave out there, and I really, I know a lot of people are emailing me all the time. Can you help me? I can't get my book out, and I don't know. I sent one of my authors asked me if I read his book yet, and I sent him a photo, and he said, "Oh my God, you don't live where there's earthquakes. You could die from the cascade." And I said, "No, I live in East Texas. The only thing I've got to deal with is the cats thundering through, knocking over the steps." Believe me, they do that all the time. So happy Saturday. We'll see you tonight, book club members. We're going to be doing the book and film club with Robert Gwaltney, and our film tonight is Anti-Maine. So it's a lot of fun. We've got a lot of people joining us, and the conversation is always lively. So email me at thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com if you are a book club member and you want to join us live. Join the fun. You don't even have to make yourself visual. You can just listen, but we really would love you to participate more in all that we do. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mandy. You're awesome.
Thank you, Kathy.
Are we going to get a preview of the cover for the next book, or will it come out when? Of the magazine?
Oh, well, June, let's see. Oh, I don't have it up.
Why don't you just do a little tease to show people what's coming up? Because you guys, her cover is amazing. They're getting better and better and better, and she's only on the 3rd issue. So
I am excited. So June next cover is the special edition. But July is an author who bought a cover, and her book is beautiful. And it's like, I couldn't wait, even though that's not ready to, even work on that magazine yet. I could not wait to do the cover. And I did send it to Kathy. Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm talking about the next two, June and July. They're awesome covers.
Oh, that was making me cry.
Away. So maybe a little tease to let them know what's coming on June 1st. Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye, Mandy.
Thanks, Kathy. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody. It's all about the story.